Hey, it's your boy Nerdicane. If you're watching this, please hit a like and subscribe because I'm trying to get, I guess, enough viewers to get monetized, I guess. I don't know. Is there any money in that anymore? Or is it just all... Do you have to be a Twitch thought to make money on the internet now? Oh, okay. Here we go. Take a deep breath, okay? I want to say something first. If you are an aspiring artist looking to get into the comic book industry, just move on to another video, because this is just going to absolutely make you sick. I saw this come up yesterday on a couple of news feeds on Nerdist and Comic Crusader. Don't go to those, well, maybe Comic Crusader, but don't go to Nerdist. Nerdist is just like, they're trying to catch up with who's that one? Bleeding Cool, for the number of pop-ups and the number of images they can get to not load on your screen. Oh, man. So the two articles really failed to do their job as comic book entertainment journalists. They told the book was coming out, they said who was writing it, and then they didn't say anything else. They didn't do the service that they're supposed to do to you, the reader, and to the comic book industry, as to say whether it's good or not. The reviews basically just said it exists, and it exists for some reason. But they didn't do their job in telling you that this is an absolute trash fire of a comic book. IDW, look at this, the third largest, 20 years. They started out as something really cool. They're the third largest publisher in America of comic books, and this is what they put out. Right off the bat, when I saw this, I knew that was a problem. Not Michael Fife, per se. Although I've looked at some of his other work. His other work is pretty much the same caliber as this. It's not ready for prime time. It's barely ready for public access, which I might be showing my age by saying public access. I'm sure public access doesn't exist anymore. Public access is just YouTube until you piss off Silicon Valley and they take it away from you. But this, if you open the book, okay, first off, let's do this. So he's got the old school Rob Liefeld's school of obscuring everybody's feet because he doesn't want to draw feet close up because he probably can't draw them close up. And then you go to the, I'm going to write G.I. Joe, but I don't know anything about guns or weapons or the military, so I'm just going to wing it. So first off, Lady J, I'm assuming that's Lady J, is holding this weapon like it's a stapler. You know when you open up a stapler and you got to reload it? That's how you hold it, just awkwardly out there. I wish I had a stapler to show you. Gung Ho, I'm assuming this is Gung Ho. I want you to do something for me right now. I want you to go to pause the video, well, after I tell you what to do. Go to the kitchen. You're going to go to your kitchen. You're going to get a kitchen knife, a chef knife, a big knife. And I want you to hold it that way. I want you to get in that position. I want you, because you have to roll your hand to where your knuckles are facing forward. And I want you to try to hold a knife that way. It doesn't happen because you'll understand that when you do that, your wrist is so weak you can't do anything with it. So oh man, he's just holding it out there saying, hey, please, I've done most of the work for you. Please take this knife away from me. And then I'm not sure who, rock and roll? Is this rock and roll? No, he's talking about slap bass a lot. And we'll get to that. That's atrocious too. He's holding two of what I only assume, this looks like the back end of a transmission. The part that actually goes to the drive shaft. That's what it looks like he's holding. He's holding two of. I guess they tried to make these miniguns, but he didn't really know what a minigun is. So he tried to do two of them, and then it's just got, look, there's no barrel. There's just these gears at the end of it. Right off the bat, when you see that, that doesn't say, buy this comic. I bought this comic because I wanted to review it so you wouldn't have to read it because I know this is going to be a trash fire. The story, this is the first draft of the story. He took the first draft of the story and he basically said, that's the story. I'm not going to have anybody proofread it. I'm not going to have anybody revise it. I'm not going to do anything. So you look at this art and story, and I'm sure letters, and I'm sure edited by, not edited by, all of this, where you get to The second part was actually, it's meh. It's filler, the second part. It's an essay. This is an essay. It's not a comic book. It's not a comic story. It's an essay. So this is the problem. When you have no editor and you have nobody else in your career saying, hey man, this is a little fuzzy. Can you clear this up? Hey, this is a little heavy-handed. This is that. This is that. When nobody is critiquing you, when nobody is editing you to make you better, that's what an editor does, to make you better. When you don't have that, that's when you get a product like Sierra Muerte. So, oh man, I need another arm. I don't know how does Diversity in Comics do it? Does he put the camera under his chin and then rip it? Because I sort of want to just rip every page as I go. But I'm not going to do that. I'll rip it at the end. So you start here, and they are in a warehouse picking up weapons from some dude who used to work for them. And Cobra Commander, like, he mentions a fever. And then in the crappiest bit of foreshadowing, you see Baroness and Major Blood kind of like looking at each other. He might as well have had them like nudging each other, like, he's getting sick, remember that stuff we gave him? That's where an editor would say, hey, this needs to be a little more subtle. This is way too heavy-handed. Next page, they're loading up and they're leaving. Look at this. This is where an editor would say that's bad dialogue. She says, we're almost ready to roll out CC. She would not, if this were Cobra, if this were a paramilitary organization with any respectability, she would not call him CC. He would not allow her to call him CC in front of the troops. It diminishes his image. And, oh gosh. And then you go into this. This is just bad dialogue. Somebody else should have done the dialogue. He's like, listen, hey, about Major Blood, don't let him get... This is not what a leader would do, especially somebody like Cobra Commander. Cobra Commander has all of these guys like Major Blood, Dr. Mindbender, Baroness, Destro. He has them all there to be crabs in a bucket. They're all going to conspire and they're all going to work really hard to be the number 2 person. And then if one person starts to get powerful enough to overthrow Cobra Commander, the crabs in the bucket, the other 2 or 3 would pull them back down, would do something to undo. That is the power structure of Cobra. Oh my God, I'm 8 minutes into this and I've just barely scratched the surface of this. So the Joes show up and there's this crappy dialogue. And then Boomhauer. Boomhauer is leading the Joes. He's like, man, all that old damn dude, Cobra Commander, that guy's a jerk. This is Boomhauer. And I don't know why he did so little as far as background and coloring. I don't know why he would even go into to take the time to draw sweat on them. So we get a kind of a crappy fight scene. This is the high desert. I want you to make note of that. This is high desert. And I'm going to skip these pages. Don't want to get a copyright strike. Boomhauer is now turning back into Duke, I suppose. And he's taking a couple bullets. So this is all supposed to be the same place. Sierra Muerte. It has high desert and then it has a swamp. Not only does it have a swamp, it has a magical swamp that sucks the color out of everything around it and then just makes it green. And this is Roadblock, and let me show you how tough Roadblock is. Roadblock is standing in this magic swamp and none of his color is getting drained out. In fact, the swamp is becoming... He's so powerful, he's so strong and tough. The swamp is becoming him. I don't know where this Sierra Muerte is. Oh, I hate saying that word. Oh, the next thing I want to say... This is where an editor would have helped your thing. You have the Joes just walking up. Look at this. This is the top of the building. There's nobody on the top of the building. I don't think an adult male could fit inside of whatever this is. What is he doing, by the way? Is he knocking on that door? Is he taking a leak? What is he doing? He's complaining with somebody. He's talking to somebody else complaining. So we go from here. Nobody on the roof, mind you. To... Somebody's on the roof and has spotted the Joes, even though, they weren't really they weren't really trying to be covert, you know, walking down the middle of the lane to where they were. What the hell is going on here? And once again, we get, oh man, let's skip this. I'll try it. Let me try it. I want to do it properly. No, it's not going to work. I don't know how he does that. I don't know. DNC, if you're watching, tell me how you do that. I don't really do this very often with comics, but oh my gosh. What an absolute trash fire. This is, G.I. Joe is not what it used to be. G.I. Joe used to be the thing in the 80s. And then, you know, had a few revivals back in the 90s. But I just ripped a bunch of story away that I kind of wanted to point out as being horrible. But it cuts to a city scene. I'm assuming it's still Sierra Muerte, where they're basically... Do you remember the Pyramid of Darkness? When the pieces split and they had to go to the Arctic and they wound up having like this laser hockey fight, which, you know, it was always weird to me as a kid, is they were shooting the lasers to move the puck, that big puck thing around, instead of just shooting each other. But they basically play out a lot of the same scene, except the pyramid is this Mexican town, and the thing that they're after is this old lady. And Stryker gets powder thrown in his eyes, in like a classic 1980s wrestling move. He gets like the secret powder thrown in his eyes. I'm not going to do a whole lot more of this. This is just an absolute abomination. I don't understand how IDW could do this. You know, like I was saying before, G.I. Joe is down. It's not in the mainstream memory of kids right now, you know. And the comic book's coming off of 2018 with, you know, Aubrey Sitterson and the crap that he pulled. And last year, 2018, there were some very good G.I. Joe comics put out. I've covered a few of them. I did videos on a few of them. But even with those good comics coming out, the G.I. Joe as a franchise is still down. This is not just kicking a good franchise while it's down. This is just getting a bunch of your friends and an awkwardly held knife and some sticks and just beating G.I. Joe. This IDW doesn't care about G.I. Joe. This guy right here, Michael Fife, doesn't care about G.I. Joe. He cares about picking up a paycheck. And he cares about, I don't know what he cares about. It's probably his own comic. I think there's like, this is like his little symbol or whatever at the end. It's just trash. He couldn't even put any effort into drawing this either. Didn't put any effort into drawing this whole comic. Look at that chin. Look at that neck. Look at the way the body's turned, and look at that chin. There's nothing feminine about that. This is like a dude. This is like a dude in a wig. This is Seth Rogen, or is that who it is? The Canadian guy, yeah, Seth Rogen playing Lady J in a wig in Tropical Thunder 2. Oh, and look at this. Oh, look at that proportioning. Look at the position. His spine has to go from the base of his neck down, up, and then back over. This looks like almost like the Max from Sam Keith. Oh yeah, there was a part where Storm Shadow got captured, and basically out of nowhere, Cobra Commander is like, "Oh, there's Storm Shadow, capture him." Don't read this book. Don't buy this book. This book is trash. If you want an essay about the geography of G.I. Joe, then I guess get that part. That's the only thing good to come out of this. This Nerdist and Comic Crusaders, you are not journalists. You did not do your job. You should have warned the public that this is an absolute trash fire, and this is not to be bought. Because I'm sure there's people out there, nothing about this cover says, hey, buy this. You look at this on the cover and you're like, oh, hey, they let a 5-year-old draw the cover. That's kind of neat. That's a cool little PR thing. But, okay, I'm almost at 15 minutes. This is the length. I can't believe I did 15 minutes on this. That's how bad this is. Thanks for watching. Hit a like and subscribe. And maybe I'll get another video out today that is a little more upbeat, but I'm going to need some help. That book sucked.